entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Smash the like, sub to the channel, and let me give you a rundown, cheat sheet style, if you only have a minute, for what is happening injury-wise heading into Sunday. Now, this is before the inactives, so maybe there's some last-second inactives. I'm not from the future. I don't know these things. My picks would suggest I am not from the future. This is known. Here's who's in. Waller is expected to play on Sunday Night Football. Have a backup plan just in case, but you're playing Waller. He's tight end 3 for me of the week. Then we have, let's see, Ken Walker is going to play for Seattle. Zach Ertz is going to return for Arizona, so if you were playing Trey McBride, take him out. Terry McLaurin is going to be active for Washington, so Dotson moves from 21 to 29 in the wide receiver rankings. McLaurin's back in at number 31 in a great matchup. Hollywood Brown is going to play with his hamstring injury for Arizona in that same game. He is the best of the Arizona receivers. George Kittle is going to play for San Francisco, as is Rhamondre and JSN for Seattle, although he will be the wide receiver 3 behind Lockett and Metcalf. Likely out. Mark Andrews is likely out, so play Isaiah Likely. He's tight end 5 for the week for me. Christian Watson is out, so, don't play him. Play Jaden Reed over Romeo Doubs, who's going to be limited in this game, although he should be active. Musgrave up in the tight end rankings as well. Jerry Jeudy not going to play. Cortland Sutton, now number 33. Marvin Mimsy, the third, is number 53 in the wide receiver rankings. Troutman is up in the tight end rankings as well. Kendry Miller not going to play. Expect a lot of Javonte Williams. He's inside the top 15. DJ Chark out. Cooper Kupp on IR. Zach Moss not playing, which makes Deion Jackson $4,100 on DraftKings. And number 31 in the running back rankings, a very viable play. As I mentioned, Romeo Doubs is in, but probably going to be limited. Ditto with Javonte Williams, so I've dropped him from number 17 in the running back rankings to 28, and P. Ryan moves up to number 31. They're flex plays at best for the week. Pretty proud of myself for getting through that so quickly, and those are all the injuries. Oh yeah, Devin Achane's probably not going to play either. Not that you were playing him, but it makes Mostart an even better play at this point. But I did want to dig in to some of these other ones to try to figure out what's going on, and this can be an update for DraftKings picks. Tambo and I did that show. The Listeners League still has like 30 spots left. Hit the description to play in that. All of the rankings are in the description as well. They're all updated. If you don't give a shit what I have to say, just go click on those and like, boop, boop. This guy has a higher, lower number than the other guy. Play that guy. That's how rankings works. If you're a fucking moron and can't figure that out, that's how they work. Lower the number, better the play in the rankings. Easy stuff. But I do want to head on over to runthesims.com for a moment. There's my Twitter, where I have an entire thread on all of this stuff. The newsletter as well has all of the links. And let's see, it has the giveaways. It has everything realistically in it. You can even see Justin Freeman makes, we have this cool free game. You want to play for $1,000? I'll throw this in the description right now. It's on LeagueSafe. You download the LeagueSafe app. Every week they're putting up $1,000 for a free 10 pick'em game. It takes like 30 seconds to play, and you could win, $400 for first, $300 for second, $200 for third. So yeah, go to the LeagueSafe app. It's under games. You can just download it right now, or hit the link that's currently in the description. I just want to get this just beautiful graphic from Justin. Now, it got thrown to shit when he put it out last night. Then Isaiah Likely becomes like the best play on the slate instead of Mark Andrews, but just taking a look at that. But that's where I really want to go to first. Let's take a look at Isaiah Likely, and just to see how good of a play he actually is in week 1. Now, do we have him over-projected? 18.8% of the market share right now at runthesims.com. Code Mayo, by the way, to get 10% off. You can run all the simulations you want, fuck around with all this stuff. It is the best research and simulation tool on the market. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, prop bets, building lineups, whatever it might be, that's the way that you want to go. You need Run the Sims. That's what I'm telling you. Even Charlie Kohler is the backup, going to be 6% of the market share. Maybe he eats into that a little bit more. Maybe he likely has a case of the drops and he doesn't see it, but he's in the same projection level in terms of market share, behind Bateman, right around Flowers, ahead of Beckham, ahead of Aguilar. That's kind of what we expect to happen. So let's try to figure this out a little bit. I've already run the Sims on all of these, so we can try to make this pretty easy for ourselves here. And let's see, where do we want to go to? We want to go to optimal results for the week. So Jefferson, Eckler, Olave, Chase, the chubby chaser lineups where you need to be, and Mike Williams, Tyreek Hill. So those Herbert stacks with Mike Williams, Tyreek Hill, Eckler, and probably Raheem Mostert at this point, are going to be very popular on DraftKings. But then Isaiah Likely is now 7th on that list. $3,000 at tight end. For the rest of the week, it was like Adam Troutman, who was the one at $2,100 who was going in. But now Courtland Sutton is popping up more because you have another option in Isaiah Likely. So we're not seeing as much Marvin Mims or Adam Troutman because of this. This is how one injury, even from a game unrelated to one another, can really cause ripple effects down everything in what's happening in lineups and how they're being constructed this week. So when we take a look at the custom lineups, like the most optimal lineups of the week, you can kind of get a sense, these are 10,000 simulations. These are the best 100-ish lineups? Yeah, these are the best 1,000 lineups we got on the go right now. But you can see Derek Carr is actually in the highest projected lineup. It's Carr with Olave and Justin Jefferson. That's not a bring back or anything. Those are just what we're doing. Josh Jacobs and Rashad White as the running backs. Isaiah Likely now is the tight end. Then you can fit in Zay Jones, Mike Williams with the Washington D. That projects almost 3 points better than the next closest one, which is Herbert with Josh Palmer. And then Isaiah Likely is the tight end in the 5 most optimal lineups of the week and 8 of the top 9. Then you have one Kyle Pitts lineup, one Freiermuth lineup that gets in there once you start simulating everything out. But that's kind of crazy to see. I have no idea how to project his ownership on the slate with it being such a last-second type thing. But even when we take a look at the projections for the week and take a look at tight end, you can see, you probably can't see it on the very side of the screen, but you have, let's see, boom, Hawkinson, Likely. Those are your 1 and 2 for the week in terms of projections. Hawkinson, Likely, Goddard, Freiermuth, Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts. If we just kind of scroll over and see what they're being projected for points-wise, and again, this is full point PPR, 12.2 for Hawkinson. That's 0.9, almost a full point higher than Likely, but Likely is, a half point higher than the next guy on the list, who's Dallas Goedert. So, the simulations, your eye test will tell you that Isaiah Likely is a fantastic play. Should you jam him into every lineup? Maybe. I'm going to have to go readjust some of my lineups right now because I have been so in on Tyler Higbee or even Okongwu was my punt play. But, he's Likely is $800 cheaper than Okongwu, although now everyone's going to be on him, but probably for good cause. And it probably opens up Marvin Mims a little bit if that's a guy that you still did like, or Josh Downs or whoever the points per dollar guys might be. We can take a look at that right now on the classic Slate Optimizer. On Run the Sims, we can just very quickly search tight end and wide receiver for points per dollar. You click on this tab, points per dollar, boom. Likely, by far the best play on the slate now. 3.56 points per dollar on DraftKings at $3,000. Not projected for the most points, but per dollar, it's pretty good. Marvin Mims, 3,000 is second, then Kendrick Bourne, Tutu Atwell, Hayden Hurst is still up there. So Hurst now as a pivot off of Likely. Listen, these cheaper guys bust all the time. And we talked about this, if you want to go back and rewind on the Mayo Media Network, Hoop, Tambo, and I talked about the cheap wide receiver, the cheap tight end versus the cheap running back. There's a huge difference in all of this. It's not to say that the cheap wide receiver and tight end cannot go off in your lineup. I think it's better to do it tight end than receiver because there's only so many options that you can have at tight end. The issue becomes, you can't guarantee targets for anyone. For Justin Jefferson, sure, as long as he's not injured, you can guarantee targets for him. But let's say that Justin Jefferson is miraculously out. He's not. Don't aggregate me on this. He is not out for week 1. Let's say that he was. And Jordan Addison and KJ Osborne step in. Are you just going to be like, well, KJ Osborne's going to replace Justin Jefferson, he's going to get 38% of the target share? No, it doesn't work like that. He might not see a target in that game, despite the fact that he's standing in the same spot on the field. Running backs is different. You can not guarantee their volume, but if Saquon Barkley is out and we know that Matt Breida is the one for sure taking over for him, he might not get as many touches, but he's probably within like the 80% range. So if you can pencil in a $4,000 running back that you know is going to get 14 to 18 touches in a football game, you're going to play that guy every single time. Now, if Mark Andrews was going to command a 20% market share of the Ravens' targets against the Texans, does that mean that Likely is going to do the same? He might. Not a guarantee. Like Isaiah Likely might have 4 targets in this game and end up with 2 catches. That's very much in the range of outcomes. Hell, you know what we can do? Take a look at it. I know he's projected great, but let's go take a look at, I believe it's the, what the hell is it called? Let's go to the prop tool. Just check this out. Check out the prop tool, see if we can get this going. We'll put in Isaiah Likely. And like, what do we think is a good betting line for him? We don't want rushing yards, obviously. We want receiving yards. Where are we at here? Rushing attempt, receiving yards. And let's call it, I don't know, 45.5. I can probably go look this up at DraftKings right now. Let's go take a look at Isaiah Likely's prop just so we can get it a little bit better. Isaiah Likely, football, NFL. We want Browns and Texans. Go into the player props, rushing and receiving props. Rushing yards over, receiving yards over. 35.5 is his over-under. I mean, I would blindly bet the over on that. That sounds like a really good bet to me in this game. But you also have to factor in, too. Let's say that the Ravens end up scoring like 21 points against the shitty Texans in the first 15 minutes of the game, in the first quarter. Are they just going to be running the ball the rest of the time? And therefore, they do not have to pass all that often. So let's go. Was it minus 10 on each side? Minus 150. Oh, thanks, DraftKings. Brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, everyone. The Pat Mayo experience. So we're going to juice that up to 115 on each side. This is a great tool at Run the Sims as well. You can kind of see the ranges and the outcomes of what you want. I mean, that is dead on of where they have him projected out. So both sides are actually a bad bet because that number is so on in terms of the median of what is happening. So you can see down at the bottom here, over hits 51% of the time, but that's not worth the juice that you'd have to pay for it. Under 35.5 receiving yards is 49.1% of the time. So again, they're both bad bets according to our simulations at Run the Sims. But just check out the bell curve. There's a lot of, I mean, we can even do this for DraftKings points as well. I mean, that's probably another easier way to do it. Fantasy points, DraftKings. And let's say, what did we say was the median? We said it was 11.9 is what our projection was for him. And that is on Yahoo. We want to go to DraftKings. Boom. Punch that in and see what it has to say. There we are. So under 11.9 is actually going to come up most of the time because the median is going to be at 9.4 DraftKings points. You can see it as a part of the bell curve. So you have to start asking. The reason that I show this, like when he gets up into the 30s, it's not that often. 25 DraftKings points, not all that often. There is a sizable chunk from the 11.9 that I talked about up to 25 fantasy points, and that's why he would end up being a good bet. But the under would be the move on this. So if it is telling you that 62% of the time it's going to be under 11.9 DraftKings points, and you can probably guess his ownership. And this I could be very wrong on. I would say I have to give it a huge range, but it's $3,000 as a punt tight end. Somewhere between 15 and 20% is probably where we want to go with this for Isaiah Likely, that in large field tournaments, fading actually makes the most sense based on what the projections are telling us, how the field is playing him, and you kind of have to live with if he burns you, he burns you. I know it sucks in that circumstance, but that's just what the numbers are telling us. And this is with almost a 20% target share in a game where I think their second team total this week in terms of all teams on the week one slate. So that is something that I would be very wary about and trying to break down. Now, the optimals will tell you he's the best play because he is. He's $3,000 and he has huge upside. So if you're playing in single entry, I mean, in single entry, he's going to be like 30% owned. And that's just where you want to push the field with, or if you're making 150 lineups, you play 75 of them with Likely. That makes some sense too. So these are all just different ways to look at it. For your season-long league, you are playing Likely. That makes sense. If you don't care about ownership or anything like that, and you're just trying to jam in the best players, Isaiah Likely is most definitely where you want to go at tight end. So just keep these things in mind when you're breaking everything down, or even just running to bet the player props. Now, when he ends up with 6 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown, that 35.5 is going to look absolutely ridiculous that you didn't take the over. But running a simulation 10,000 times tells you that it's going to come out under more than it comes out over at this price point. So keep that in mind, especially when you're dealing with the VIG on a lot of these things. When they're taking 15 cents off every dollar, it needs to be very strong in your favor in order to go do that. All right. I'm Pat Mayo. All my rankings are available in the description for free right now. RunTheSims.com. Code Mayo gets you 10% off. That League Safe game is down there right now. It's $1,000 in the prize pool. It's completely free. So you may as well go check that out. And the injury cheat sheet, that link is also available for free in the Pat Mayo Experience and Mayo Media newsletter. Something you can get sent to you for free if you do subscribe, or you can just go click on the link right now. Make it easy for yourself. All right. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!